Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome to the roundup. So every Thursday I do five news, video game news stories, or 5 p.m. before I play Call of Duty. So we got five news stories today. Actually, we got it six today. I lied. We don't have five. We have six. So let's jump into the first news story. So this is kind of crazy. Canceled Xbox 360 GoldenEye remaster is in the wild. Apparently they were making a remaster for the Xbox 360, and they just leaked some footage recently. So a playable version of this beautiful Xbox 360 GoldenEye 007 remaster, we reported over the weekend, is quickly spreading online after its Ars Technica spilled the beans last night. I played it, and you can play it. I didn't even know that. So unsurprisingly, it's really great. The file comes from the near final beta build of the Xbox Live Arcade release that was eventually canceled somewhere in the late aughts. I was gonna say August. Is that what we're calling the 2000s now? What are we calling the 2010s? Are we just calling it the 2010s? Like, I have no idea. But yeah, so it's. Let me get back on the story. Grant Kirkhope, who composed the music for the original GoldenEye and was still at Rare during the remastered development, told VGC last week this project never went public due to overwhelming number of licensors who would have signed off on the project before it could see the day of light. Okay, light of day. Yeah, it's a because I don't know. I heard the GoldenEye license holders are very particular about their games or like where they're licensed, and like I don't know. When's the last time you heard of a new James Bond game? It's been a very long time. I think they're very particular with using that license. And I'm trying to think. Did the old movie, like the movies that came out recently, do they have a game release with them? I don't think they did. I'd have to research it, but I don't think they did. So I think they're very particular with it. Okay, so during development, told VGC last week, the project never went public due to overwhelming. Okay, we already said that. So it's the full XBLA footage. Okay, I'll play that right after I read this article. There were too many stakeholders, Kirkhope explained. Microsoft, Nintendo, obviously Nintendo published the original game, so they have to go through Nintendo as well. Just a crazy thing about. And James Bond license owner, Eon, could never agree to terms. And that's before you even start to consider getting all the original movie actors to agree to have their likenesses used again, like Sean Bean. It's it would have cost a lot of money to get it done because of the project. Because of that, the project probably wouldn't have been financially viable. GoldenEye, honestly, like why not just make a new GoldenEye, but don't have like get new actors to play those roles. Like instead of just like going to like Sean Bean or going to like Pierce Brosnan and being like let's get you guys back on because they're obviously older. Obviously, want some of the voice work from them, but I don't know. I feel like they could easily make a new GoldenEye, or just like, why not just make a good James Bond, game? Why not just like, it would be actually a really good team to make a new James Bond game, like the Hitman group, the team that makes Hitman. They could make an amazing James Bond game. Because I'm hearing good stories about Hitman 3, and it's like a Hitman is not it's a different type of character, but he's still like kind of like a spy and he has to go kill people and stuff like that. So they could make an amazing game. Like imagine if the team, what was it, Eon? Yeah, the people who own the James Bond license goes to like, was it IO Interactive? Those are the guys who make Hitman, and they're like, yeah, here's a license. We would love for you to make a James Bond game. Do what you guys do best. I think that'd be a match made in heaven. Launch on. Okay, so let's keep going. We lost money, financially viable. Okay. GoldenEye 007, 007, I don't know why I said 007, which first launched on the 1064 in 1997, was considered the gold standard for first-person shooters during its time. Yeah, it's definitely not the gold standard anymore. Like, you have to use the C buttons to move move the mouse, not the mouse, the cursor to shoot people. So that would be really hard to do nowadays. During its time, but still looked upon fondly as a classic today. We asked about this canned remaster in 2015. Microsoft current executive vice president of gaming Phil Spencer reiterated that the rights to the game were just too challenging to secure for remaster. The leaked GoldenEye 007 build runs surprisingly well on Xbox 360 emulator Xena, like the Warrior Princess, with just a few hiccups here and there as the game loads assets. There's even a neat feature that when pressing the right shoulder button switches between upgraded textures to the original Nintendo 64 graphics. It's awfully close to the original, just with better controls and visuals. Oh, so this is what they're talking about, where it switches to. Even the 360 version kind of looks disgusting. That they don't honestly. They need to remake GoldenEye, not remaster it, because I don't know. Like they need to build new assets, rebuild the levels. Let's watch the video. Do you expect me to remove the Nintendo logo scene? Oh, I really that music. Oh, they're showing the old graphics, Sean Bean. The Russians are always the bad guy. Every movie. XKGB agent. Alright, let's skip to the gameplay. Yeah, this looks terrible. Like, they need to remake it. They can't remaster it because, like, the animations are terrible. Like, you can't just put a new skin on it. You have to remake the game completely. You have to add new animations, new, like, you know, graphics, change up the design a little bit. I remember playing the crap out of this on 64 multiplayer. I remember playing this a lot. This is the old one or this is the new one? Okay, this is the 360 version. Yeah, look at all the animation. It just, yeah. I can see why they didn't keep it. Is this the entire campaign? Yeah, you can watch the entire campaign. Okay, alright, let's go to the next news story. So this is kind of a bit more of a darker story. Ubisoft employees have grave concerns over Toronto studios' misconduct and allegation. So like a couple of months ago, there was some, you know, there's some sexual harassment that was going on at Ubisoft Montreal and Ubisoft Toronto as well. Just some Me Too stuff that was happening. So let's read into the story. There's a story some people tell at Ubisoft Toronto. The studio currently finishing one of fall's bigger planned releases, Watch Dogs Legions. It goes something like this: Maxime Belland, one of the co-founders, and was until last week a 20-year-old veteran of Ubisoft, allegedly choked a female employee at work at a party. That's kind of fucked up. Unless she was asking for it, maybe. I don't know. Just messing with me. Some heard it recited as a bizarre one-off. Others shared it as a warning to women at the studio to be wary of Belland. To some employees, it represented a pattern. These current and former Ubisoft employees say Belland was known for making them feel uncomfortable, complimenting about how women who worked for him dressed, staring at them as they walked across rooms, and also that he seemed untouchable for years. No one who heard about this alleged choking incident ever heard about any repercussions. Instead, he continued on as a studio star creative director. Yeah, Maxime Belland, he was like the guy who worked on like all the big games for Ubisoft. Really, really well done. What did he else? He continued for years. Let me go back. Creative director, briefly leaving for Epic Games in early 2019 before returning to Ubisoft in an even more powerful role in the company centralized editorial division. The past 2 weeks have been filled with accounts, some anonymous, some with names attached, as people mostly women take the risk of speaking out on social media about the harassment, abuse, and assault, mostly against men in gaming. And while abuse allegations have rocked Twitch and other corners of the gaming world, no one company has seen as many reports leveled by and against its own people as Ubisoft. The multinational video game publisher behind Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, and Rainbow Six. In an interview with Kotaku, the woman who says Belen put his hands around her neck at a party shared not just an account of the disturbing incident, but of a structure and culture that she said made her hesitant to report it. You're conditioned to feel like you're lucky to be there, she said, of her time at Ubisoft Toronto. That's what happened with what's his name? That guy. Why am I blanking on his name? The famous Harry Weinstein. Yeah, that he was so powerful in in the world of Hollywood that you needed to get through him to get specific roles and specific movies done. So he seemed like he had similar power, and that he could do whatever he wanted, which kind of fucked up. Now suddenly, change seems to be coming, and the event are moving fast. A version of that choking story appeared on social media on June 23rd. 3 days later, Bloomberg reported that Belen had been suspended by Ubisoft pending an investigation into allegations of misconduct. July 1st, Kotaku sent Ubisoft a long list of questions about Belen and the apparent lack of consequences for him and others accused of misconduct at the company. 2 days after that, in an email to the employees, Ubisoft CEO Yves Guillemot announced Belen's resignation. That's a good thing. Ubisoft Toronto was founded in 2010 set of a four-story brick factory, originally built as General Electric, and that overlooks a quiet residential street in the city's Junction Triangle. It was established to develop its own AAA games, while also co-producing franchise sequels. With Ubisoft massive Montreal studio, it was a new branch of the giant company, but it operated with the pressures of the startup pursuing lofty goals. Studio leaders were tasked with ramping up from 0 to 800 employees in 10 years. That's a lot of employees. Yeah, Ubisoft, like all their divisions, they have tons. I think the Montreal division has like at least more than 1,000 people for sure. And they had something that happened in the summer too, where like there was like some sort of a hostage situation, but apparently it was fake. Like somebody like called it in and they swatted Ubisoft Montreal, and like they had all these cops and people, Montreal police, come to the building, and there was nothing was going on. So there's always something weird going on in Ubisoft. Like, all this stuff that's like beyond making video games. But Blacklist, yeah, I think the first game they made was the Splinter Cell Conviction, and then they made Blacklist, and after that, they started working on the Watchdog games. Watchdog Legions, I played it for a couple of hours, like 10 hours. I didn't really get into it too much, but yeah, it's a pretty long story. I'll leave you guys to read it if you guys want, but yeah, it goes through all the misconduct that's happening, or that happened through Ubisoft, and probably there's a lot of misconduct that happens in a lot of these video game companies, but we just don't know. We just don't hear about it. So there's another story from Kotaku. Ninja sounds fed up. Okay. Tyler Ninja Blevins, still the streaming world's best known crossover sensation, even years after the peak of his relevance. Sounds like he's getting a little tired of his every action being hyper scrutinized by millions of people all the time. So yeah, obviously, I don't think like anybody. I think Ninja is the person who popularized like streaming, like made it mainstream, like made it into something that somebody could make into a career. He was the first person to do it, the first person to be uber successful. And I always thought about this, like video games are probably one of the biggest mediums out there for entertainment. They make more money than movies, technically. If you look at the stats, they make way more money. Because obviously, a game costs a lot more than a movie. Like if you go buy a movie ticket, it's like $15, right? But one game costs $60, so you're making so much more money. Plus, there's so much more that goes into a game. So I always thought that like video games would eventually catch up, and it would eventually be so relevant that people who would stream the games would become that popular. And then obviously, as you know, people get older, they make more money, and as people, more and more people become part of the community. So there's more opportunities for people like streamers to strike it big. And obviously Ninja, if you watch his old Fortnite videos, he was incredibly good at that game. And now I think he plays he plays Valorant. Like I don't know why. I don't know why people like that game. I'm not really into it as much. But yeah, let's continue the story. He's just I think once you get to that level of fame, people are just gonna shit talk you no matter what, no matter what you do. All right, let's go. Continue the story. In a new profile by the New York Times, that of course opened with the requisite reference to an otherwise irrelevant video game that the author played in their youth, GoldenEye in this case. Oh, the stories connect. See, you see? Blevins spoke on a wide range of subjects. These were unified by a single through line. He is tired of the whole lot of shit viewers say to him, say to and about him. Here, for example, is Blevins on his return to Twitch after Microsoft's money machine briefly lured him away to now defunct streaming platform Mixer. Yeah, I got. I don't think they ever said how much money he got paid from Mixer, but he must have gotten paid a lot because I remember I downloaded Mixer. That's what I was trying to say, Mixer, and I was watching one of his streams and he was barely getting 5,000 viewers on Mixer, and like, so as soon as I saw that, I thought to myself, okay, this like social media app will not survive if they're only getting 5,000 viewers for Ninja, who is probably the biggest streamer in the world. So let's go back to the story. When we came back from Mixer, I knew that I wasn't going to be the biggest streamer in terms of viewers anymore. You don't be the number one streamer, leave and come back and you're number one again. I get people coming in my chat and they're like, "You're falling off, man. LOL. Good Mixer move, man. The Mixer move was smart. I don't regret anything I've done. I could teach all these kids talking shit. But when you reply to them, they're like, hey, he said my name. Oh, okay, yeah, because obviously people are weird like that. They just like they want to elicit a reaction from you. That's all they want. They don't care. Their name is 69 fart sniffer. That's funny. And you read their name and their next comment after they roasted you is them giggling like a little schoolgirl, like, you noticed me. It's the worst. Yeah. Honestly, like, nobody has any idea how much Mixer paid him just to stream for a year. It could be $30 million. It could be that much. Would you deny that much money? Like, I think LeBron James. Actually, no. LeBron James probably gets paid more. But like $30 million. Okay, I'm gonna talk about the NBA. If you get a $30 million contract for 1 year, that's like a max level contract. Actually, nowadays 40 is probably the highest. But you're a high end player in the NBA. But imagine getting paid that much to come to Mixer. Like, I get it. Like, he's coming back to Twitch. Obviously, Mixer failed on him, but you can't deny that much money. And obviously, the viewership wasn't there. It didn't work out, but like, I'm assuming he got paid a lot. We still don't know the final details of how much he got paid. Plus, Mixer was owned by Microsoft, so they have money. They have money to spare, right? So he probably got paid really nicely. I don't think he regrets doing it. But he's back on Twitch. Obviously, he's not the biggest streamer now. Right now, nowadays it's like Nick Merckx, or obviously Shroud's back. Shroud always has a pretty good like amount of people watching him. That would be good to know, actually. Who is the biggest streamer? Here he is talking about young viewers or some sort of contradicting his own prior stances on heated gamer moments. You want to know who your kid is? Listen to him when he's playing video games, when he thinks you're not. Here's another thing. How does a white kid know he has white privilege. If his parents never teach him or don't talk about racism, if they're gaming and their first interaction with racism is one of their friends saying the N word, and they have no idea what it is, what if it was on my stream? It is my job to have this conversation with this kid. No, because the first thing that's going on in his head is that this kid is doing this on purpose to troll me. If someone says racial slur on someone else's stream, it can potentially get that streamer banned. It's awful, but that's the first thing I think of. Well, yeah, obviously, I don't like. Obviously, parents need to monitor what their kids are doing, right? But I always have another opinion about things. Kids are gonna learn about these words no matter what from anywhere else as well. But like, obviously, be around your kids and realize like what they're doing. If they're watching Twitch, like be interested in what they're doing and what they want to watch. If they're watching Twitch, don't be like, oh my god, you're playing video games on a computer or something, or like watching somebody play a video game. Don't be that person. Like actually be interested in what your kid does. Like again, you don't like it, but like he's gonna enjoy it more. He or she is gonna enjoy it. That you're actually interested in, and then plus you get to know the streamer that he's watching. Like if the streamer swears constantly and says negative stuff, then okay, you can't watch a streamer anymore, right? It's simple. And he sounds very fed up with hearing about his own stance on not streaming with women. A bad take. He's walked back to some degree in the years since, but not entirely. Accusations are what made me say that about female gamers. What do you say about female gamers? I don't even know about this. I was like, I'm going to do not okay. I was like, I'm going to do anything in my power to make sure that no one can even start a rumor or make YouTube clickbait videos. Ninja is playing with this person a lot. They're flirting. Oh, here's a clip. You know how to make you know how to make that never happen. You don't let it happen. That's what was going on through my head. I still stand by not having a lot of alone time with women in general if you are married. I mean, they could be your best friend. That's totally cool. But if I randomly start playing with women, no one knows. People are going to start talking, so I'm going to play with female gamers. So if I'm going to play, sorry, I can't read. So if I'm going to play with female gamers, I do it with a big group, so it's not that one-on-one interaction. I understand. Yeah, if you're married, it makes sense. Like you don't want to. People will start talking about you like if you're talking to you're streaming with a girl, and then they think you're flirting. It makes honestly, I don't even think that's controversial. He just wants to make sure his marriage is intact, right? He doesn't want to add too much to like ruin it. So of course, a guy and a girl can be friends without getting intimate, but it's like temptation, man. Actually, I don't like that word because I have control of myself and 100% respect for my relationship, but I don't know how to word it. I know how can you say that? Of course, a guy and a girl can be friends without getting intimate, but there's always temptation, man. Like what the hell? They can't be friends. How do you contradict yourself like that? I don't know how to word it. I know people are going to potentially take this now like, oh, he can't trust himself, blah blah blah, dude. But when you're not we're not Joe anymore. Yeah, again, Ninja is probably the most famous streamer in the world. He's probably getting DMs from many girls. Like he's probably yeah. This man is just trying to save it. That's pretty honorable, honestly. Like I don't know. I love Doctor Disrespect, but he did cheat on his wife. But like that's personal. That's just personal problems. Like I don't try to get involved with people's personal problems too much. But like again, when you get to that level of fame, there are gonna be women throwing yourself at you, and a lot of people are not gonna agree with that. But it's true. Like status makes a man more attractive. It's 100% true. So he's probably getting so many girls thrown at him, but he wants to be faithful to his wife. So who am I to judge if he doesn't want to play with women? But when you're not Joe anymore, who can have a drink with his coworker. No one gives a shit. I don't have that luxury. Perhaps someday Blevins will square his stances on his passivity when it comes to calling young viewers on racism and the active role he's taking in spreading retrograde what else? What's retrograde views about women? Today does not seem to be that day. Like, if you look at what he says, like, it makes totally sense. He wants to make sure he keeps his. I don't know. I get where he's coming from, man. In happier years, Blevins has a self-described idea man. Sure, he had some ideas inspired by his days as a pro gamer, who had to drive for 8 hours at a time. He had. I can't fucking talk right now. Sorry. In happier news, Blevins, a self-described idea man, sure has had some ideas inspired by his days as a pro gamer. He had to drive 8+ hours at a time. He has devised a new product. Okay. What happens on a long drive? You get cold and it's like, oh, I'm freezing. I'm tired, he said. Well, you turn up the heat and you get too hot. Now you're hot or falling asleep. But but you also don't want the window down because what if it's freezing out, or what if super loud with the window down? So it's right here, a little stick on a chill a little stick on a chill strip you put underneath your eyes so you can have the window up and the heat down. This would be good for truck drivers. Do chill strips. What the hell? I don't understand what he's trying to say. I think I'm retarded. So it'd be a little stick. A little stick. Okay, I don't get it. Over your eyes? I don't really get it. Do you guys get it? Okay, cool. That's the end of that story. Okay, let's jump to the next story. So Frisco video game developer Gearbox sells to global giant in a deal worth up to $1.3 billion. So Gearbox are the guys who make Borderlands, and they make Band of Brothers, but they haven't made a Band of Brothers in like years now. But I did not expect them to be worth $1.3 billion. That's a lot of money for one video game developer. Frisco-based Gearbox Entertainment Company, the developer of the popular game titles Brothers in Arms and Borderlands, is being acquired by a Swedish company in a deal worth up to $1.3 billion. Gearbox, founded in 1999, will become a wholly owned subsidiary of Karlstad. Isn't Karlstad like a chair at IKEA? Isn't it? 1 second. Karlstad. It's a sofa. Yeah, it's a sofa. I thought it was something. I knew it was something. That is funny. Karlstad, Sweden-based Embracer Group, a global player in game development with more than 5,000 employees in eight operating groups. The deal is part of a 3-company acquisition by Embracer, but also includes Cyprus-based EasyBrain and Austin-based Asper Media. EasyBrain makes advertising based puzzle games and logic games, and Asper is a media publishing video games, including bringing the Call of Duty and Star Wars franchise to Apple's Mac platform. Really? I didn't know that. The three transactions could reach about $2.5 billion in combined value over the next few years. Embracer Group said it would initially pay $363 million for Gearbox, with a commitment for an additional $1 billion over the next 6 years if performance targets are met. Oh, you could do that? I didn't even know that. So they could lose money on it too. So let's say Gearbox, next game tanks and they gets bad reviews. They don't have to pay the full amount. Performance targets are met. Gearbox would need to accumulate pre-tax earnings of $1.3 billion in the time frame. Embracer said in 2019, Gearbox revenue totaled $125 million. In 2020, it brought in $123 million in a 9-month period. Wait, that's crazy. That's crazy to think about. Because didn't Borderlands 3 come out in 2020? So you think the revenue would be higher because it's a brand new game, but I guess not. In the statement, Gearbox said the deal gives it access to capital, adding rocket fuel to its powerful creative engine. Its plan under Embracer to hire new talent at its design studio. Oh my god. Is there a way to get rid of these guys who say, oh, want to become famous by followers? There's got to be a way. Let me ban you. I hate when people do that. Okay, let's continue the story. Okay, in a statement, Gearbox said the deal gives it access to capital. Okay, we said that. Blah, blah. Plan under Bracer is to hire new talent at its design studio in Frisco and Quebec City, create new studios, and possibly even become acquirer itself. Gearbox is an employee-owned company with 550 workers. Its game portfolio also includes Half-Life, Counter-Strike, Tony Hawk Pro Skater. When did they work on Tony Hawk Pro Skater? I don't remember this. Maybe they worked on like a port or something. 007, James Bond, and Halo. They definitely worked on a port. Its Borderlands franchise has sold more than... Damn, I didn't know Borderlands sold 60 million copies. I didn't know it was that famous. I remember playing the second one. The second one was pretty good. I haven't played the third one. But I definitely didn't know they made 60 million. They sold 60 million copies. That's a lot of copies. Brothers in Arms, released in 2005, has since grown into three franchise titles and 11 spin-offs. The series has sold more than 10 million copies. Why is Cortana going off? Not Cortana. Why is Siri going off? I didn't even say, hey Siri. What the fuck? Alright. Gearbox has reportedly expanded into a film and television division with 3 projects in development, a TV series based on Brothers in Arms, and a feature film based on Duke Nukem and Borderlands. Oh yeah, they own the Duke Nukem franchise too. But I don't know, is anybody gonna really play another Duke Nukem? They would really have to reboot that series. Gearbox is arguably one of the most creative and valuable independent developers in the world. Embracer CEO and founder Lars Wingorfers. Sorry, I mispronounced that word. Let's see what we're talking about. We believe that the resources offered by Embracer will position Gearbox for significant growth in the years to come. Founder Randy Pitchford, he's a really famous founder. He apparently said some controversial things, but I'm trying to remember exactly what he said. Who will continue to lead Gearbox, praise Embracer for its approach to companies it acquires, letting them operate as a decentralized, successful entrepreneurial companies. The feeling at Gearbox is that just getting started at this transaction is not merely a stimulant for the talent of our employee-owned company, that are a propellant for exciting future we have planned. He said in a statement, with 624 million in revenue in this fiscal year that ended March 30. That makes sense. They dropped a new game. Embracer grew dramatically last year through a series of acquisitions. It bought dozens of small studios in a single day in November and made 7 acquisitions in August. In February 2020, and it spent 525 million to buy game developer Saber Interactive. So they're making moves, this Swedish company. All right, let's go to the next news story. This is a pretty sad news story. Google closes Stadia's dedicated game studio after less than 2 years. Service isn't changing, but the streaming exclusives games are clearly narrow. Okay. Again, Stadia I've heard really good things about it. I've heard it's actually pretty decent streaming network, but it's kind of hard. You have to have a really good internet connection, obviously, to use Google Stadia. But in order to get people on your platform, you have to have exclusive games. And I think they might be going the opposite way by getting rid of their only exclusive developer. This isn't a typical entry in our long-running Google Kills Product series, but it's close enough. Google is shutting down its first ever dedicated game studio, which had been founded as a part of its beleaguered Google Stadia Cloud gaming service. Kotaku editor Stephen Totilo confirmed the news on Monday ahead of Google's posting its own formal statement on the matter. and it means Stadia games and entertainment will soon be no more. That's crazy. According to one source from familiar with with Stadia's operations, sorry, the move will impact the combined 150 staffers from the Endeavor, headquartered in both Montreal and Los Angeles. Google may rehire these staffers at other divisions. One of those staffers, however, will not move to another Google division. Jade Raymond, who was like co-creator of Assassin's Creed and stole the world's heart, because I remember when 2007 Assassin's Creed came out, nobody talked about the game. They just talked about how cute she was. And I don't know what she looks like anymore, but that's what the guys think about it, I guess, nowadays. That was like the main thing, like, oh, the Assassin's Creed girl is really cute. What the hell is going on here? A cute girl in a video game developer? That's crazy. Who would have thought it? People were just dumb back then. Assassin's Creed co-creator and Stadia highest profile hire, who previously headed the studio is no longer with Google. She's probably not gonna go back to Ubisoft, because obviously Ubisoft is doing some shady and nefarious things. 4 years, you say? Okay, the combined studio appears to only have lasted 1.5 years, if even that, with their existence being announced in October 2019's announcement frenzy. At the time, Raymond offered optimistic thoughts about what exactly Stadia's unique cloud-based architecture would allow in the future of video games, including robust physics simulations, distributed AI management, and larger-scale multiplayer communities. Raymond conceded that such efforts would take time, however, saying it would be 4 years before gamers could see the next exclusive, exciting content. There will be some coming out next year, every year, and more and more each year. Apparently, 4 years development was too long for someone at Google. Yeah, Google's like that. They really like to delete stuff. Honestly, it's not delete stuff. Just get rid of different products. Yeah, I don't think they give, because you have to, in order to build something, you have to give it time. They didn't even put out I would understand if they put out their first game, and they're like, okay, this game sucks, and the studio then tank the studio right there. But they didn't even get a chance to like put out the first game, which is kind of unfortunate. Stadia's exclusive studio currently has 0 games to its name. Detail hints at a possibility that some of its in-progress games may launch by year's end, but that's not entirely clear. Either way, with these studios' closures, the service will soon pivot exclusively to hosting other publishers' games. But honestly, Google has a lot of money. They could buy other game studios. Like Microsoft has a lot of money too. Google also has a lot of money. They could easily buy another studio and just tell them to make exclusive games. I think they might go down that route. Or why destroy your only game studio, and what's the point? Like, why not just get rid of Stadia altogether? I don't think Stadia's gonna be here for too long. If they're already destroying their own developers, then what's the point? I don't get it. I would love to see the stats on how well Stadia is doing, how many subscribers and all that stuff. There's probably something out there to find it. Let's see what else goes going on. An unnamed source told Kotaku about issues from up top affecting Stadia's games operations, saying Google was a terrible place to make games. Imagine Amazon, but under-resourced. The quote follows a lengthy behind-the-scenes report about corporate management woes that drove Amazon Game Studios projects like Crucible into the mud. Exactly how this transition will affect existing Stadia service, which was already dominated by third-party fare, remains to be seen. As the service has matured, it has finally offered more ways to play, particularly with free-to-play games like Destiny 2, which requires $0 to start the free account and begins playing solid 3D action on an average web browser. And Stadia even turned out to be one of the better places to play the bug-ridden Cyberpunk 2077. Yeah, I heard about that. I heard it was better on Stadia, which is kind of funny to think about. In its wake, so is Stadia the next gen like console that we need? In the wake of its notorious past gen console launch. But yeah, so Stadia obviously has more competition with Xbox Game Pass Ultimate and Amazon Luna. There's issues combined with requirements that games be coded to support Vulkan and run Stadia's OHUM Linux servers farms that have stymied Google's rollout from day one. Issues that ambitious Stadia exclusive fare would certainly have been leapfrogged. Okay, final news story. How long have we been going for? Oh shit, we're almost going on for an hour. All right, I've been talking for a long time. My voice is starting to go. All right, final news story. Amazon. Okay, so as you know, Stadia is struggling. Amazon is putting even more effort into the video game division. So Amazon's new CEO commits to making more games after reported internal struggles. Amazon's incumbent CEO Andy Jassy has pledged to support the company's gaming division following reported internal struggles at Amazon Game Studios. In an email by Bloomberg, Jassy acknowledged the difficulties faced so far, which have seen games like The Crucible being shut down only months after its official launch. Some businesses take off in the first year, others take many years. Jassy said in an email to staff, through we haven't consistently succeeded in AGS. I believe we will hang in there. Jassy is set to replace Amazon CEO and founder Jeff Bezos later this year after Jeff Bezos announced he was stepping down on Tuesday. That's still crazy that he's stepping down, but I guess he wants to do other stuff now, and his Amazon stock is going to continue to grow, and he's going to become. Eventually, he's going to go back to being the richest person in the world. Or I don't know if he went back. I think Elon Musk was the richest person. He took over recently because the stock of Tesla went up a lot, so it's probably going to be switching between the two for the next couple of years. Jassy's supportive email was apparently a follow-up to an email from Mike Frazzini, the current head of Amazon Game Studios. Frazzini was addressing a recent Bloomberg report which illuminated behind-the-scenes issues at the studio. Bloomberg report alleged bro culture at the AGS, and alluded to multiple canceled projects, mismanagement, and difficult to work with games engines in Amazon's lumberyard, which apparently caused difficulties during development. In the emails obtained by Bloomberg, Frazzini reported and saying that the studio has a zero tolerance for this kind of behavior described or anything less than a fully equitable and inclusive environment. We've learned and improved a lot along the way, myself included, and we will continue to do so. Frazzini continued, making great games is hard, and we're not going to get everything right. Amazon has not had a lot of success in the gaming space so far, but Jassy and Frazzini comments suggest that they don't seem to be giving up just yet. The company announced its foray into cloud streaming in 2020 with Amazon Luna. Here's everything we know about Amazon Luna. Okay, so I remember there's a story that it was an interview with Phil Spencer, and he said that Sony and Nintendo aren't our competition. It's Amazon and Google. And Google, unfortunately, is cutting down on their, obviously, their exclusive games. But they're obviously trying to get into the streaming market. It's obvious streaming is going to be the future. Right now, we can't stream as much because our internet speeds aren't as high. But maybe in 5 to 10 years, we'll have higher internet speeds. And Amazon has the money to throw in, because they threw the money in to get into the the movie and TV streaming. They were able to do that, and they're obviously not as big as Netflix, but they're pretty big. They've taken a pretty big chunk of the streaming market, and they have pretty good shows. Like obviously, there's the Grand Tour. They have Jack Ryan. What else? The Boys. Well, I blanked out the best show, The Boys, which is one of the best shows on TV. Definitely check it out. There's 2 seasons. So they definitely have the money. They will definitely they're definitely gonna put the effort in, and like they have the money to get into this market. And obviously, it's not easier to get in the market now, but back then you had to make hardware with like AMD or Nvidia or Intel. But nowadays it's all streaming, so it's easier to get into the market for these big companies because they don't have to put so much money into producing a box. Now they can just stream it through the internet. But they also have to put money into servers and all that stuff. That's a lot of money. That takes a lot of money as well. That's why Microsoft it knows where the game industry is going. That's why they're using Game Pass. They want to be the Netflix of the video game company. They know that the Series X, Series S are not going to be a thing eventually. There's going to be a box and you're going to stream. And it kind of sucks. Like, I'm a big PC gamer and I like having boxes, but I think eventually the internet's going to be so good. Internet speeds going to be so good that why would you want to, get a $5,000 graphics card to play this game, where you can pay $20 a month? It's going to happen eventually. As much as I hate it. But yeah, that was the roundup. Damn, that was an hour long. I went on for an hour. It was just a lot of news stories, and I kind of expounded on it a little bit too much, but that's good. So the full video will be up tomorrow on YouTube, and I'll probably break it down into clips as well, because there's a lot of content. 57 minutes. Jesus Christ. Holy shit. Okay. Usually it lasts 30 minutes, but alright, give me about 5 minutes to set up Call of Duty, and we're on some Call of Duty. Just give me about 5 minutes, and I'll be back.